Howdy, y'all. It's October, and to any Texan, that means 24 days of the Great State Fair of Texas. I even flew in for it. Whitney gives y'all a brief history of our nation's biggest state fair, and we both agree that the reason for the season is a corny dog and a selfie with the fair mascot, Big Tex. Then we welcome strong Texas sisters Tiffany and Melinda Taylor, who talk to us about their brilliant Mother Margie. They help us kick off a month of Halloween stories where we learn that Momma Marjorie took the holiday seriously by hand sewing all of her kids' costumes that still live on today. No tricks here. We've scored a sweet discount for all you listeners out there for Tiff's Treats, because one of today's siblings is Tiffany Taylor, the founder of the cookie empire Tiff's Treats. Through the month of November, use promo code Hey Sis 15. That's HEYSIS 15 for 15% off cookies at Tiff's Treats, online at cookiedelivery.com.
Grab your fork and grab your knife. Morning, afternoon, and night. Mama's recipe and mine. We're about to have a good time. Hey sis, eat this. Hey sis, eat this. Woohoo! Yeah.
Hey sis.
Hey, sis. You don't look too good over there.
I'm a little bit on the struggle bus. I'm not going to lie. You know, you were in town last week. We had a great time. Went to the fair with some friends on Friday night and been putting up all the Halloween decorations. And we've just been going. And it's caught up with me. I'm not feeling great. I'm on that cusp, but when you know you're about to get real sick.
Yeah, well, I can tell in your voice that you don't sound too good.
I know. And my energy's low. So I apologize to everyone in advance, but I'm still going to bring it today as much as I can.
To go back to the fair a second time, that's ambitious. The Texas State Fair. We should tell our listeners a little bit about the Great State Fair of Texas and our adventures there last week.
We should, and we will. I love the fair. When Courtney and I were living in LA, we would often come back to just come to the fair because when we were growing up, it was a staple.
The whole state gave the schools a day off called Fair Day, and you would go and you'd get a free ticket and you could go to the fair.
Yeah, it was a big deal. It was super fun.
That's when I got my period for the first time was Fair Day. I remember I was really excited to go to the fair in seventh grade. And I woke up in the morning and I thought it was diarrhea, but it wasn't. It was my period. I became a woman that day.
Oh,
yeah. But then I went to the fair.
I have an even more embarrassing story. I went with
from the fair.
Yeah. I don't even know if I've ever told you this, actually. I went with like a friend and her mom and dad. And I was young, like first or second grade, maybe. And I had to pee so bad. The parents were like dicking around and I like peed myself, but I like didn't tell them because I was so embarrassed. And I was wearing like those leggings that had the little skirt over it. You remember that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, poor thing.
I know, it was so embarrassing, but
we had fun with Storage Wars. Mary paid in.
We sure did. We recruited her to come be our camera woman, but we just needed her to be in every shot because she's just hilarious and we have the best time with her.
It was just a blast going with Mary, and it was really funny when people would recognize her. I know you from that show.
Right.
He's like, give him a fist bump. It was just so funny.
That was so funny. I have pulled a few fun facts about the state fair.
Okay. Yeah. We should share that.
Because I know we think it's a BFD, but I don't know if the rest of the country really does. So I pulled some facts. So the state fair is 137 years old.
That's old.
Real old. It's the largest in the nation with over 2 million people visiting each year. We always go for the food.
Yeah. The primary reason we go is to try all the exotic food that comes in each year. Yes. All the different fried food crazes. Yeah.
So probably the biggest well-known food at the fair is Fletcher's Original Corny Dogs. And they debuted, yes, at the Texas State Fair in 1942. And over 500,000 corny dogs are sold annually throughout the 24-day run of the fair.
500,000 corny dogs?
500,000.
mine was a brisket corny dog, and you did turkey.
I did turkey, and then on Friday night I split a corn dog with Andrea, which is probably why I'm sick, because she's sick too, and we split just the OG. I guess it's pork.
Yeah, with mustard. We're mustard people. There's a there are two different types. You can fall into two different corny dog categories. Do you eat yours with ketchup or do you eat it with mustard? We're mustard people.
Yeah, definitely.
I surprisingly really enjoyed our big, huge turkey leg that we split.
Yes.
That was amazing.
It was really good. I
like that crispy skin and
and that smoky flavor.
Yeah. Well, I just think that, those big turkey legs in the past have always looked pretty intimidating to me. Yeah. But, I do like a smoked meat, and turkey is one of my favorite meats. And I thought it was great. And we paired it with just a big, huge dill pickle and barbecue sauce. And there's nothing better.
I agree.
And then we washed it down with some vodka.
Yeah.
So at the state fair, because of all the wacky alcohol rules in Texas, you can get beer and you can get wine at the state fair, but you cannot get hard alcohol. But everywhere, and I didn't know this, because everywhere you look, there's like the daiquiri booth or the
margarita,
like Bloody Marys, margaritas, like all this stuff. And so we went up to one of the vendors, and I just really, I love me a good BM, in all different ways, and
all senses of the word.
And it looked so good. And so Mary Padian and I decided we'd get a Bloody Mary. And I said, well, what? You're not allowed to put vodka. Well, what's in it first before we ask? And the guy's like, vodka. We're like, vodka. And then we're like, what is vodka? Not vodka.
How does that differentiate from vodka?
How do I describe this? He pulls out a
gallon jug, like you would see of rubbing alcohol or Lysol.
Like a cleaning supply looking jug.
With a handle.
And he shows us, it says Voshka. I believe it's VOSCHKA. And it gave the percentage of alcohol,
which was 16%.
Which is not that much, right?
No, regular vodka I looked up is 40%.
Oh, so right. No wonder I didn't even feel anything. But the tomato juice was great. So we decided we'd go for it, even though after I Googled it, I didn't see anything on Google called Voshka. I'm pretty sure we drank cleaning alcohol in our Bloody Mary. I'm not convinced that it wasn't some sort of cleaning supply.
Maybe it saved you from this cold I got.
Yeah, maybe. And, I'm all about a little alcohol to knock things out. But
seriously, I think that the biggest draw to the fair, and something that we realized when we interviewed a few people, is that you have to go and you want to go to the state fair to see Big Tex.
Gosh, you sound like a man right now.
Big Tex.
Big Tex. Big Tex is the draw.
I got a little fun facts about him as well.
Yeah, well, should we explain what Big Tex is?
Well, I think I'd like to put out my little statement here first.
Oh, a Big Tex statement.
In 1952, an oversized Santa Claus statue that once sat atop a department store in Cairns, Texas, was refitted with jeans and a cowboy hat. Big Tex was born.
Oh.
He was 52 feet tall.
Okay.
And I've put together a little song for you, Courtney.
Oh.
Because we've discussed Big Tex over the years. He's been a staple at the fair, and
he no longer looks like Santa Claus, though.
No, they did a really good job.
I mean, there's been many iterations of him over the years.
I want to get into that and ask you, where were you when Big Tex started burning that October day?
Okay,
I've repurposed the Alan Jackson song.
Yeah, what is that? Well, Alan Jackson song?
I don't want to seem insensitive, but it is about 9/11. But that opening line really fit well with
Where Were You?
With Big Tex.
Well, okay, first of all, in 2000 and what? 14,
it was 12.
15?
It was October 19th, 2012.
Yeah. Big Tex caught fire.
An electrical malfunction in the mechanical neck of Big Tex caused a fire that quickly engulfed the iconic talking cowboy in flames.
Yeah, and I know exactly where I was. I was pregnant, sitting on my couch with our friend Ashley, and who's also from Dallas. And our phone, we were in Los Angeles, and our phone started blowing up by both of our moms saying like, "Big Tex is burning! Big Tex is burning!" And we went on the internet to look at it. It was like a goddamn horror show. This 50 plus tall cowboy just in flames. Like it was the scariest thing. I exactly remember where I was as if it were yesterday.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that, the cowboy in flames, because the dispatcher that called in with the report said, got a rather tall cowboy with his clothes burned off.
Why does that not surprise me? The fair is just a big deal. What can I say? It means a lot to us. It's part of our childhood.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. I get a season pass and I go several times a year.
We've clearly gotten past the trauma of having our period and peeing ourselves the day of fair day. And we've come to love it again. You know, we worked through that trauma and it's very near and dear to our heart.
It truly is.
And then from the fair, Whitney, we had a busy week. We went on to our YouTube conference, Vid Summit, where we got shamed by fellow content creators because our camera work is so shoddy, and realized that
we didn't know a lot of the YouTubers that we should know about, I guess.
Because we're goddamn podcasters, okay? We're not YouTubers yet. And I don't know if we ever will be, but definitely put things into perspective for us.
We learned a lot. We can say that.
We'll still be putting our episodes up on YouTube if anybody wants to tune into that.
And other fun things like our trip to the state fair. We're going to get that going and put that up there as well.
I did have a creepy Courtney struck again meeting a celebrity content creator, though, when we were there with Jordan Matter.
Oh, my God. Yes, you did.
I know. I just have such a problem when I meet influential people. I just have to go creepy for some reason. And I didn't mean to. And it was so awkward.
Why don't you tell our listeners what happened?
Well, we met Jordan Matter, who has 10 million plus subscribers. He's a very influential guy.
He's an older gentleman.
He's 57 and he does all this content with his daughter, who's a gymnast. And my kids are absolutely obsessed with him. So when they knew that he was going to be there, they said, Mommy, there's only one person you have to meet. You got to see Jordan Matter. You got to meet Jordan Matter. So we had the opportunity to talk to him after a lecture, and he was as nice as can be. And I don't know why I just get nervous and I start stammering. And I'm like, oh, my daughters love your daughter Salish. Like, had to drop the daughter's name. And I just love Salish so much. And it's funny. I actually even know where she takes gymnastics because my kids told me. And he's like, oh, yeah. Well, what did he say?
He was like, oh, yeah, it's been a little different since we moved to LA from New York. We've been wondering, like, should we get security? Should we, there's so many people that kind of know our lives from YouTube. So
I felt horrible. I didn't mean to scare him. I was just trying desperately to make a connection. And, it was
funny.
I mean, we could do a whole podcast on celebrities that I meet who I geek out on and embarrass myself. So Jeff Goldblum and Natalie Maines to note, and Larry David, but conceal.
Right. Oh, and Owen Wilson at Mikasina.
Oh, God, right.
You need to write a book.
Lord have mercy. I could write a book and keep me away. I'm a weirdo. Anyway, okay, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. Well, speaking of large animatronic things,
we were speaking. Oh, yeah, big text.
We have finally put up our Halloween decorations. Oh. Not all of them, but we go all out. And
I do.
So we put the, Grim Reaper boat out there. And then Mama Ashley, for all the hard work Lance had done on their house, she bought him this witch. I'm going to have to, I tried to FaceTime y'all yesterday to show you, but I'm going to have to FaceTime y'all later today. And it's as if she's on this broom that's like sticking in the ground and she's flying behind it.
Ooh.
It is wild. So
okay.
I was working from the couch today, just kind of relaxing on my laptop, and people are just driving by and slowing down and looking at our house. And then I look out there and there's these two women who are walking, and they're walking by our house, videoing all of our Halloween decorations.
So are you finally beating Brad next door, whose decorations are pretty awesome as well?
Well, they kind of do a drive-by of both. We kick it off.
Yeah.
And we also sent out our Halloween party invitation yesterday, which was very late for us, but it is a 1 foot in the grave, a geriatric Halloween.
We know.
And it's pretty funny to think of what ChatGPT can come up with for a Halloween invite.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, we put it in there, and it's pretty good. I'm gonna bring it up. I didn't invite you because I know you're not going to be in town. So
yeah, I'm having my own Halloween. So
yeah, you are
trying to figure out my menu because we want to do spooky deviled eggs again, and that's what we call them in my house: spooky deviled eggs and chili. And I'm trying to decide between pulled brisket and pulled chicken sandwiches or just like tacos. So I'm deciding if I'm going to go more Mexican or more barbecue. But my party is going to double in size this year because my neighbor, she says, I'm done. I'm tired. I can't do it this year, but we all have mutual friends. So I'm going to kind of take on that overload. So I told her she has to bring the chicken nuggets for the kids.
There you go.
And I'll do the adult food. Yeah.
Yeah. Our invitation says, a geriatric Halloween, 1 foot in the grave, let's rave. Dust off those old cardigans and roll out your walkers. Join us this Halloween for the most geriatric gathering of the year at the Viewside Retirement Home. Viewside is our street, obviously. Dress as your future 90-year-old self and party like it's your last until next year. RSVP before your hearing aid battery dies and your memory fades. Frinkles and giggles, the Walders. And I just noticed I spelled our last name wrong.
Well, that's a senior mistake right there.
Oh yeah, see, I can just blame it on that.
Yeah, that's really funny. ChatGPT
Really
did that.
Yes,
that's hysterical.
Yeah, we've got a lot of fun things planned.
Well, since we're on the topic of Halloween, I think this is a perfect segue into introducing today's guests, Tiffany and Melinda Taylor. We're getting Halloween started early this year with the sweet treats with these two sisters because Tiffany is the founder of Tiff's Treats, the warm cookie delivery company that has over 90 locations now in 6 different states. And they're both sweethearts, and we'll learn all about the both of them and their incredible mother, Margie, in this next episode.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, sis.
Hey, sis. This is one of those cool reunion episodes where we get to meet up with some people from our childhood. And I think we might have only met them once or twice before the age that I was 10. So I'm not sure if anybody here remembers meeting. I do. But our dads used to work together in the advertising business, and they worked very closely together for most of their careers. Whitney, do you have any memories of these girls?
I don't, but I definitely remember their father, Steve, and I just remember about hearing about them.
Right.
But here we are, 30 plus years later, and we've hunted them down. And today we're thrilled to welcome sisters Melinda and Tiffany, formerly known Taylor.
As we know, yeah, the Taylor sisters.
So welcome to Hey Sis, Eat This, Melinda and Tiffany.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having us.
We want to give our audience a little background on the both of you. Melinda is a news producer for the Morning Good Day TV show on the KDFW Fox Dallas television network. She's a writer and producer for the show. And she's a mom of 3 boys and a breast cancer survivor. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Well, moving on to her sister, Tiffany. Tiffany is the founder of a massive cookie empire. And if you have been living under a rock and you don't know about this amazing bakery that delivers hot, fresh cookies, Tiff's Treats, it's delicious. And if I had $1 every time Mama Ashley told me, well, you know that Tiff's Treats was started by Tiffany Taylor in her dorm room.
Yeah. I've
I
heard it
would
a lot.
be rich.
Yeah. It's like,
I love it.
Anytime you hear about Tiff Street, well, you knew them growing up,
Yeah.
So
She even said it today when she came over. So
That's a perfect mom thing. All moms.
Right?
All moms are like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
But it is true. Tiffany and her boyfriend, now husband, indeed started the business in college in 1999. It now has over 86 locations in
We're at 90, actually.
Oh, hell
Nice.
yes.
Yeah, you are.
90 locations across 4 states. Are you still at 4 states or did we bump into a new state?
I'll have to count them one sec. Sorry, I don't have this off the top of my head.
Well, she's at a pop-up in California.
Yeah, there's a new
so-
state.
If you're going to count California too, which I think
think
I
you should.
would, that would be
Yeah.
5. Let me, it's 6, I think.
This is
There's
hot off the
Colorado,
presses.
too.
Since you printed that, she
Yes,
just opened
just
6
added.
more stores.
Yes. Yes. The website needs to be updated hourly.
Right.
But Tiffany is also a mom of 2 twin 8-year-olds.
Girl and a boy. Well, we also know that you have a brother, Dustin,
Yep.
right? Okay. And my mom couldn't remember if it was Justin or Dustin, but I'm like, it's Dustin.
Yep.
Because I'm the only one that here at the party that can remember anything. So I remember it's Dustin. And he can't be with us today, but we want to know a little bit about him and also tell us where the 3 of you fall in line, Melinda.
Okay. I'm the oldest,
Okay.
and Tiff is maybe just shy of 3 years younger than me. And then Dustin is just shy of 3 years younger than her.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm exactly in the middle.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about Dustin since he can't be here.
Dustin was just here today in my office.
Oh,
so Dustin,
wow.
Dustin owns a advertising agency called The Shop out of Dallas,
Mhm.
and we are one of his clients. So I actually just had a meeting with him this morning, and I've been seeing him putter around the office today. But he actually lives in Dallas, so I would say that Melinda sees him probably more than me.
I mean, family-wise, yes. Business-wise, you two see each other a lot. Just the 2 of you.
Just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do a lot of family stuff together, given that we're right here together.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
nice.
we can talk offline later, Tiffany, about being in business with your sibling, but that's just.
Well, I know. I think the thing is, like, being in business is different than being vendor relationship, but it's I guess that's got its own pieces to navigate.
It's actually amazing, and I love it, and I'm grateful for it. I'm just giving her a
I'm
hard
sure
time.
it's got its ups and its
It
downs.
does.
you
She
know.
may be older, but I still boss her around.
I get the one who's known to be bossy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we were talking about whether we remember each other and kind of this history between the Ashleys and the Taylors. But here's something that we learned a few hours ago is that your parents were at our parents' wedding in 1970.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Because Mama Ashley, our mom, her parents,
we're good friends with your grandparents.
yes,
Oh.
Yes.
they all went to the same church
First
together.
United
They
Methodist
were
Church,
in
honey.
Sunday school together?
Yes.
Yes.
The double
Oh.
ring class, I think.
That's right, the double ring.
What's the double ring class?
It's their Sunday. It's our grandma's Sunday school class.
They were the single, I think they were called single ring or something. They were like in a singles
Oh.
class and they all ended up getting married. And so they had double rings.
Oh.
And so it turned into the double ring class.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have to ask my mom about that.
Wow. So it was like, then it became like couples of.
Then it was a
in the
couples
Sunday-
class. Yeah. And then they just grew up together and
Yeah. That's what my mom said. They were in Sunday school together.
yes.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And then that she saw your mom every week at Sunday school.
Yeah.
And
For a second, I thought you were saying that they were like in a swingers club, like double rings.
Perhaps they
I was like,
did.
what
I
does
don't
that
know.
mean?
I mean, they had a lot of social events.
You never
I do
know what was
that.
going on
A
in the
lot of
50s.
parties. I have seen parties with leis around and like, Hawaiian
Coconut bra.
coconut bras.
Oh,
yeah.
we're going to
my
need to see
God.
these.
Yeah, now that you look back on it, what were those
I'm
double
wondering.
ringers up to?
Yeah.
We don't know.
I need it. We need
We were 5.
we need photos of that if you find
There
anything.
are photos
Yeah.
of the coconut bras.
Well, so I called my mom today before you guys were coming over, and I was like, "Mom, do you remember like anything about Margie?" And so she was like, "Okay, yeah, we went to Sunday school, and she is brilliant." I was like, "Really? Why?" She gave me no evidence to back it up that she's brilliant, but she's very with much conviction said she's brilliant.
Well, she can put together a crossword puzzle. Like
Okay,
nobody's
all right.
business.
Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
that's a sign.
She has a large vocabulary.
Okay.
She will correct you and pull out a word you have never heard before and then use it correctly, and you just have to assume. It's
You're
context clues all the way with her.
Right, yeah,
Googling
right.
like Siri, tell me what
Yeah.
such and such.
Well, she
means.
says it with confidence. So, well, I also thought it was really sweet because she said, I have a really sweet memory when we first moved to Dallas and Whitney was just only a few weeks old. She had us over for dinner. They had us over for dinner. And that is where I remember playing with you girls. I remember Tiffany's blonde hair, really, really white blonde hair. I don't remember anything else about the night, but I remember playing with 2 little girls. I would have been about 6, 7 years old. So,
And this was at our house?
Your house. We had just moved, and Whitney was an infant, and your mom was just welcoming us because our dads were going to be working together. And she generously, as my mom said, had us over for dinner when we were new to town. And she just remembers it being like lovely. She's like, I don't remember what we ate or anything, but I just remember it was very warm and sweet. So
that's so
she was
nice.
very appreciative of it, still to this day.
Yeah.
What a good memory.
That's nice.
I know. Isn't that sweet?
So, Tiffany, we've established that your mother is brilliant, according to Mama Ashley. But what else can you tell us about Momma Margie?
First of all, I love that Mama Ashley name that you guys use. And then when you place it on Margie, I can see her right now. She will not like that.
Okay, should we rename her? What are we going to call her?
Marjorie.
Well, I think she would go with Margie. She
Margie,
doesn't even
yes.
like to be called ma'am. Everything that you say ages her in her mind.
Oh,
So
okay.
she would want to just be your friend. She's just going to want to be the plain old Margie, not ma'am, not, anyway. So that makes me laugh because even thinking of her as
If it makes her feel better, we call all the mothers that we talk about on this show, Mama, whatever their name is. And even though our mom's name is Margaret, all of our friends as kids called her Mama Ashley because that's our last name. But we've just adopted that sort of mama saying because we think it's sweet.
I think it's
love
cute.
it.
My kids still call me Mama.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, I think it's cute too and sweet. There is no talking her out of, well, they're only saying that because I'm old.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's my best.
We used to
Margie
joke with her all the
impression.
time and be like, well, how about Large Marge? Could we call you Large Marge?
Oh my God.
She loved that one equally.
That's so funny. So tell us about her.
Oh, she's great. She's a very, very fun person. Always has been. She's always up for a good prank. I remember coming out on April Fool's Day and she had a big blonde wig. She's got auburn hair, kind of always has. And so she has this platinum blonde hair one day when I'm coming out as a kid. And this is just very her. And she played it off for a long time. And she just has a really fun spirit. She's very youthful at heart. I think in her mind, she is 22 and there's no talking her out of that. So she's definitely a 22-year-old trapped in whatever
We won't say.
age she is now.
She will still go on roller coasters with me.
Oh, yes.
She loves roller coasters.
That's going to be me too.
Well, Melinda, you chime in here. Tell us a little bit about her.
I mean,
in
I
your
would
words.
agree.
Yeah.
The fun spirit, like I say, she loves roller coasters. My husband will not do them with me anymore. And even
Whitney
as I
will.
get a little older, I'm starting to be like, maybe I don't want to do that. But I still love the thrill of it. I enjoy heights. She enjoys heights.
Cute.
So going to the fair, going to Six Flags, something like that. She
Yeah.
is
She's
up
adventurous.
for doing those things.
She's really physically nimble.
So on the opposite end,
Uh-huh.
she loves nature walks.
Oh,
Just slow, enjoying, pointing out all the things. Every road trip we went on, she would have it mapped out. She would get the, Exxon Mobil
Right.
travel guide
Yeah.
for every
Yeah.
vacation,
Yeah.
which we drove to every vacation.
Right.
And all along the way, we would stop and she would find a nature trail and we would take it. It was constant nature trails.
Well, I'm going to add one question, Whit, before we move on to
Please.
the next. How has Margie inspired you with your company? Like, was it the recipes? Were those her cookie recipes? Where's Margie's footprint on your business?
Yeah, I mean, Margie is the one who got me into baking cookies at all. It was something that we would do together. She's definitely passed that on to me. I learned all of those recipes came from either her or her mother as well. So she's 100% in all of that. And then she was very involved even in the business for years. After she retired teaching, she actually came on as a bookkeeper for us and did that for many years too. So even being supportive in that way later on in a different aspect. But yeah, there's no Tiff's treats without Margie. That's for sure. That's otherwise I wouldn't have done the baking.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad to hear that.
How is it working with your mother?
Well, didn't work side by side
Right,
all the time.
right.
I definitely did the onboarding training, and I wouldn't recommend that because that was also a lot of computer stuff.
Oh,
And I
gosh.
just wouldn't recommend that for any mother and daughter duo.
Oh, yeah.
But we got through it, and she's a great, you can't find anybody who works harder than she does. She's the hardest worker I've ever met, and so unbelievably dedicated, which she was as a teacher as well. Really like almost overly dedicated. There's some of those teachers that you grew up with that are just totally above and beyond. And that's what she was like in her career there. And then she just takes it into everything that she does.
So she also instilled a really great work ethic in the both of you, it sounds like.
I would assume so. I mean, I don't know that she, outright said the things, but it was more just modeling her behavior. I think, like she was very into it. She loved her children. Besides us being her children, her school children, loves those children.
3 years ago, I was with her in Dallas, and a young adult came up and said, Mrs. Taylor, you were my X grade teacher, and you were the only one who believed in me. And it was such a touching moment. She had made such an impact on this life. But here's the crazy thing. She knew exactly who that was.
Oh,
and
she
said
always
them by name.
Always.
And said, of course, I remember you and everything. So to imagine how many students she had over the course of the time that she worked there. And then this would have been the last time
20
she
years
taught would have
later,
been,
probably.
At least. And she's knowing these people. So she really made a huge impact on a bunch of children's lives.
Mama Ashley was right. She is brilliant.
I know. Well, and Mom kept saying, she's just so sweet. She's so sweet.
We're really curious because, as we said, our dads used to work together and they traveled a lot when we were growing up. So how did our friend Margie handle kind of the dinner and the dinner table? What was it like?
For me, my recollection is we always ate at home.
Okay.
I think in later years, they kind of turned it. Once I had moved out, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
it got a little more relaxed and they went out to eat a lot more.
One less kid.
Yeah, maybe so. One less, activity to coordinate.
Mm-hmm.
What I remember is Mom always cooking and kind of interesting dishes. I mean, the chip beef on toast that everybody from the 80s remembers. She would make spinach crepes, which is, I can't believe it, but I remember us all
they good?
eating it.
Okay.
Yes, I
We
remember
might
it
need
being
that
good.
recipe.
I've never made it since.
Okay.
But I remember it being good. I mean, she had the little crepe maker and everything.
Sounds good.
She would make homemade pizza. We did that for years. And then at some point during the years, Tiff, do you remember, we realized, delivery pizza. I don't know why. Maybe it
wasn't a big thing until the 80s.
Maybe so.
No, not at all.
And we started getting delivery pizza maybe once a week. And she was very well known for getting extra sauce. And we were like, no, please.
Oh, God,
not on mine.
Oh, that's
So we
funny.
get extra sauce on the side.
We got it from Mr. Jim's because that was her favorite place.
Yes.
And
Never heard of Mr.
she would
Jim's.
clobber it with,
it was just
I don't even know how
covered in
I don't know
sauce.
what she said to them on the phone, but the
Extra,
way it came to
extra
us
sauce.
was just a pile of sauce.
There was
on
no
top
cheese. It seemed like
of
there
a
was no
pizza.
cheese. It
because
was
they put it on top, which
Yeah.
actually as an adult, I'm like, that sounds kind of good.
Yeah.
But to
Not as a kid.
5, a 7, and a 9-year-old, we were like, well, it's ruined.
Right.
So we always laugh about those Mr. Jim pizzas.
That's funny.
But I guess that was her indulgence, why not? Mom deserves, she's paying for it.
I want to know why
Have
she
that
just
sauce.
didn't get a side of sauce.
I think eventually she realized she could get it on the side.
If you don't mind, can we circle back to the road trips that you mentioned earlier? It sounds like Margie got a lot of joy out of planning those trips.
Okay, let's see. I mean, so we would take a summer vacation every year. Every now and again we would fly, but for the most part we would drive.
Road trip.
We would take road trips, whether we were going, the destination was only part of the family vacation. So driving there, my mom had planned out all the steps along the way.
Like
Whether it
AAA
was-
map.
She had the map. Yeah. And she had it all figured out. And we would stop here and there was a nature trail here when we would stop here. And we didn't do like the, giant ball of yarn. We've got to see that. It was more like nature trails. And Tiff, help me. What were some of the other? It was just destinations all along the way.
Okay.
Yeah, little cities along the way.
Little cities.
the way that we would work the lodging was once we kind of got near, then they would slow down for a motel and we would shout for the ones that said pool on the sign.
Yes.
And then my dad would pull over and he'd walk in and see if they had a room. And then we'd anxiously wait in the car to see. And then he would come back and it was either a yes or a no. It just kind of blows your mind now because
for sure.
you wouldn't do it that way, but they didn't. It's also mind-boggling how much she could do without the internet. All of these sites that she's talking about. I think she might have gone to the library.
She did. She went to the library and looked everything up along the way.
I remember, because we did some road trips, and you would go to the AAA office and tell them where you were going, and they would make maps for you, and it had the motels and the gas stations and the restaurants along the way, so you could kind of plan where you're going to stop. But that was, those are the old days.
Another thing on our road trips is we would have a cooler with a gallon of milk chilled and we didn't have bottled water. So if you were thirsty,
never drank water.
No, we never drank water. We always drank milk. And if you were thirsty on your road trip, you would pour a glass of milk.
Oh my
in the car.
God.
I mean, what's the funniest thing about that?
I guess.
Margie hates milk.
Yeah, she hates milk.
Can't drink it.
So does our mom.
But she raised us exclusively milk.
Do you think that's sort of what inspired you to do your cookies and milk sort of deal?
Maybe.
It's just ingrained.
I know I had to offset that milk with something that paired.
My God, that's
I actually
funny.
love milk. I mean, that's the thing is she succeeded. She raised us. And I mean, to me, that doesn't even seem gross, that milk in the back. But I have a couple friends that just recently learned that I will pour and drink a glass of milk as an adult.
Too. I still have it with dinner sometimes.
Are you serious?
I would too. Yeah, with a peanut butter and jelly.
An entire glass of milk, like I'm 6.
Our stepdad does that, and he has milk with dinner. I can't imagine. Yeah. I'm much more about I'd rather have boxed wine at dinner than milk. That is for sure.
Well, on these vacations, y'all probably had to stop along the way at the motels, but also for food. So were there any memorable places that you guys went for dining out on the road?
One trip, and I don't remember the year, but we probably were all I was probably at least in junior high. Maybe you guys were elementary. It became a running joke. There were Waffle Houses everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, you must have been traveling in the South.
I'm sure we were. I don't know what our destination was, but there was a Waffle House, I swear, every third exit. And it became such a joke. I'm not even sure we actually ate at one at all.
Right.
But we saw the signs, and then Mom and Dad made up a huge song about it, and we ended up singing all about it. And then we turned it into a song the whole family sang, and we sang it at a church talent show.
You did not.
All about the Waffle Houses.
Stop it.
Oh my God, I just almost spit out my wine.
Can anyone do a little rendition of it?
I mean, I think it just said Waffle House or Waffle House.
No, it was a parody it was from Fiddler on the Roof, which I think the real words are a curse upon your house, da 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 da. And
Waffle House, make me a match, something like that.
Yeah, but it was very specific. We had the whole thing.
That's incredible.
It's written down somewhere. We'll have to get it out.
It was the Taylor family Von Trapp.
Yeah, I was going to say, right.
Of Edelweiss.
We stood in front of the whole group at this church camp.
With lederhosen?
And sang it. No.
Oh my
God.
That's
so a good story.
Hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
We've said it before that Mama Ashley wasn't always the most open person about sex when we were younger. And I know I went to camp at church for my sex talk.
Church camp for sex talk?
Oh, that's where I've sent my boys.
Really?
Well, it wasn't.
I mean, they did it at my school.
It wasn't like camp. It was like a session.
Like a workshop.
Like a workshop. Right.
I went to one of those as well.
Yeah.
It was a 2-day
seminar. Oh, I send mine boys. They go once a week for 6 or 8 weeks.
What?
It's a lot.
So they're becoming medical doctors by the end? What's happening?
It's a lot of sex.
Human development now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what did our friend Margie do when it came to the sex talk, Tiffany?
So I feel like I'm so young when this happened that my memory is, half fictionalized in my mind.
I remember it.
Melinda and I were sitting on the kitchen floor and she had a book and explained it. And I thought I was good to go on understanding it, but for years, I thought the woman had to be able to do the splits in order for this to happen. And I always struggled with the splits as a dancer. I'm not flexible. I had to really work. So I think I was always a little concerned about my ability. It's
never going to happen for me.
Tiffany. Oh God, that's
but
amazing.
That's the thing. I was young. I was young. I must have been 6. I mean, I was. Right. I think because she was grouping me in with Melinda, who would have been 9.
Yes.
Right.
But it came up because you asked the question. You came home, somebody had a curse word graffitied on the school bus.
Oh boy.
And you came home and said, "What does this mean?" And she said, "Well, let me tell you. Sit down, girls."
Was it the
Here we go.
Was it the
it was the F word.
Okay.
Yeah. And she said, "I'm going to tell you exactly what that means." Instead of just saying, "Oh, it's a bad word." It was here's what that means. She is a literal realist.
Yes.
She can't tell a lie, not even to protect your feelings. Like,
absolutely
not. You're going to hear exactly what it is.
She's like, I'm going to fucking tell you what that means. And you need to sit down.
And we're going to do it right here where we stand.
Right.
It wasn't like, come to the living room. It was like, you asked the question in the kitchen, sit down.
Tiffany, do the splits. We're going to talk.
Yeah. I want to know, like, was Margie in the splits during this conversation, or
there must have been something there must have been a diagram in the
Kama
book.
Sutra part of the book?
Yeah. I don't know what book do you remember, Melinda? Did she
I don't remember the book part. No.
Fabricated that whole piece of it too. I don't know.
We're going to need to have Margie call into the hotline and tell us what book that is.
Yeah. Also, maybe Margie does need to do this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was her personal experience, was the splits. So I don't know.
That is so funny.
God, that's
Did
really
Dustin get the same book talk, or was his?
I don't know. He probably got sent to class.
Dustin went to church camp to
probably.
learn.
I'm sure she would have told him to. She's just a really, really open person.
She's very open about it.
I love that.
We're really open, and we don't have, a lot of modesty or anything going on there. So it's really comfortable and casual. And if you asked her a question, she'd answer you.
Oh yeah. We had a car conversation, and I feel like there was a friend in the back, but maybe not, but we openly had a conversation about oral sex.
Oh yeah. I actually have a similar experience recently with my 10 and 12-year-old and a couple of friends that were in the car. Harry Styles has a song about wet dreams. Yeah. My 10-year-old says, "Mom, what's a wet dream?" And my 12-year-old pipes up, "I know what it is. It's when a boy has his period when he's sleeping." And so
I love it.
I'm like, "Oh my God." And then the friend chimes in. She said, "Yeah, I know what it is too. My dad told me." And I'm like, "Okay." And then they keep asking me questions. I was like, I really don't want to continue this conversation so that the little girls go home and say, Mrs. Hero talks about wet dreams. And that, so I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that open, but I did say, you're wrong about it being a period. And it does happen when they're sleeping. We can talk about it later.
I will say my mom is quite so open and sort of doesn't make it seem weird at all.
That's an amazing
when I
way
sent
to be.
My oldest to the sex class, it was on Wednesday nights at our church, and she so happened to have choir the same night. So instead of me driving him and picking him up, she did it. And they would go have dinner afterwards, after the class every week.
Oh, an extra session.
And they would chat and chat and chat about class.
Oh, wow.
And he was completely open about it. And she would come home and she would drop him off. She's like, well, we talked about this. I'm like, whoa. And neither one of them was embarrassed about it in the slightest.
That's really cool, by the way.
We joke now with my 15-year-old, how was sex talk with grandma?
Well, you know what, though? Sometimes it's probably if she's that open and makes you feel that comfortable, it's easier to do it with grandma than with mom.
Yeah. Oh, and he was comfortable with us as well. I mean,
that's really awesome.
Cute little questions about it, but
I think that makes for being a really good mama when you can be that open.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be taboo, you know?
Right.
Well, I want to move on to something really funny, and I have a little surprise for you girls. in 1984, my parents threw a raging Halloween party in the front yard of our house. Okay. This is so strange. Like, who throws a party in the front yard? Like,
well, that's where your decorations are.
Well, right. But like in Texas, you have big front yards.
Yeah. They claimed that they did it because they made the garage into a maze.
Oh yeah. They made the garage into a haunted house. They had like these boxes where people crawled through and this whole thing. And clearly you don't remember this, but you girls were there at that party. And I have pictures of
Must
it.
have shocked the memory right out of me.
I did. This is a picture.
Okay,
I'm going
can't wait
to
to
pass
see.
it around. This first one is of your dad, your Margie, and Dustin. And then we'll put it up. And this one is of the two of you, I believe,
my
in
gosh.
Smurf costumes.
Yes.
So this is
Oh,
proof.
Smurf, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
proof. I'm going to take it over.
My mom
to Tiff.
handmade all these costumes.
Really?
Yes.
That's why I bring it up, because I want to hear about that.
Yes. Although I do not remember Mom wearing this outfit. Oh, yes, I do actually.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I don't remember, but I remember the pictures. I would have been about 4. Oh yeah, what is she wearing?
Your face, Tiffany.
Let me see, Court.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
You're smothered in blue paint on your face.
We're trying to figure out what that costume is your mom's wearing. We think your dad's
Okay,
dressed as a
so-
gypsy, but we can't figure out what your
Yes.
mom is.
she looks like she's wearing a Sunday school dress.
No, was more like a sock hop.
Yeah.
But it was slick instead of like the long. It's got like
It was
instruments.
like, it was
on
like a
I think.
sexy Halloween
Yes,
a sexy
I think
sock
it
top.
was. It's hanging in her costume closet. She has an entire closet in her house with costumes.
Oh my God.
that
Still
are-
to this day?
Oh, still. Yes. You could go in. In fact, she has all these costumes that my kids, I go to her
Have
house
recycled?
before Halloween and I'm like, what might fit my kids this year?
That's great.
We've
That's
pulled
amazing.
out a devil costume that she's handmade
Sure.
from horns to tail, the whole thing.
So she's a seamstress.
Pirate costumes. What else has she made that my boys have worn? Robin Hood.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's very,
Clowns.
sounds like she's very creative and
That's
artistic.
awesome.
She was
She
an
is.
incredible seamstress. She grew up making her own clothes.
Do you think
for
you can
years.
dig up the sexy sock hop outfit
Oh, we can
for
find
us?
it. Oh, it is in the closet. I
I'm
have seen
coming
that
over
recently.
to try it on.
Yeah.
Do you
I know.
remember being a Smurf for?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that funny?
I just showed my kids pictures of Smurf costumes because my 6-year-old has watched the Smurfs recently. And I brought it up. I'm like, we were Smurfs, for Halloween one year. And I got out the
in our
costumes.
front yard rager
Yeah,
party.
at the Rager.
Yeah. Where one
Tiffany was smeared in blue face.
I mean, that is so funny.
Well, a couple other fun facts from that party. Whitney was only 2 years old, and every single time she was so scared of all the costumes, and anybody that held her, she peed on them.
Yeah.
Why she didn't have a diaper on, I don't know.
Well, I think mommy was potty training me.
Oh, well, come
And
on
then-
for one
Maybe
night.
not on Halloween
Yeah,
night.
what she said is I was potty trained, but then she had to put me back into diapers that night because
my
I kept
God.
peeing all over everyone.
And then one of the dads at the party came as a flasher with like a trench coat and
dear.
boxers underneath. I mean, now that would not fly in today's world.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm glad we figured that out, how we all know each other. So I'm the only one that remembers anybody.
As Smurfs.
So we communicated a little bit before this via email to learn a little bit about Margie. And a really interesting point that you guys said is that she was kind of an environmentalist. So what was Margie doing during the 80s to help the planet? Melinda?
Recycling for sure.
Okay.
Recycling our lunches, our lunch sacks, there was no waste. We did
No,
not
so-
waste.
That chipped beef that Melinda was talking about, those come in little jars.
Glass containers.
Oh, yeah.
A glass
Oh, uh-huh.
container of dried beef.
Okay.
Those jars were also doubled as our
Drinking
glassware.
glasses.
That was our drinking glasses because
wow.
those would get
They were
repurposed
kind
to
of
drinking
small, so
glasses.
maybe like a
Yes.
juice glass.
Okay.
I don't remember using milk in it, but like a juice glass size.
Oh, I would do milk in there.
Oh.
But we would reuse simply everything. And
Everything.
so my dream was to take a brown paper bag lunch to school
Right.
in a brown paper bag. But the reality was I had to take a used Taco Bueno paper bag. And then bring that home so
No.
it could be used again
Yes.
and again.
Yeah, that's
And the same
extreme.
with the she's extreme, like the sandwich bag. So we would have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that would come in a little sandwich bag,
Sure.
like the little clear plastic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Ziploc.
But then that would also need to come home at the end of the day, so it could be reused, even though
because it's not trash yet.
Right.
So you you reuse.
Does she still do this?
Yes.
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 Wow.
Growing up, we played outside all the time and played, when it was icy. I feel like it never snowed when we were kids, but it iced all
I
the
don't
time.
think so. Yes.
Anyway, we would go out and play in the ice, but we didn't have snow boots. Mom would save bread bags,
Wow.
and
Did it
we
work?
wore bread bags over our tennis shoes
Oh
so
my
that our
God.
shoes
Brilliant.
wouldn't get wet.
Smart.
And they would just get rubber banded around, and out we went in our bread
Wow.
bags.
You know what? This woman is,
But you know what? Our shoes never got wet.
right. She was ahead of her time.
She was.
Yeah.
And we were the most popular kids in school.
You look at it now is that you've really contributed to our planet.
No, it's us. It's honestly, it's so funny, and it comes from such a good place, and it's the smallest and easiest way to build character. So I love that part of our
so true.
history.
Oh, I love that too. To end the show, we move on to our rapid fire segment of the show. Tiffany, what's one word to describe your mom?
Fun.
I was going to say the same thing.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead, Melinda. Your turn.
How
I
about-
say, what?
Like loving.
Very loving. Yes. But also really fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. We know that.
Okay. Melinda, what is one trait that you get from Margie?
I like to read. Does that count as a trait?
Of
I
course.
don't know.
Sure.
Okay.
Hobby, trait.
Yeah.
What about you, Tiffany?
Yeah, I think love of nature and being outdoors, even though I didn't appreciate it as a child. Now suddenly, like, you grow up and you're all of a sudden you're your mom instantly. And so
Mhm.
That's
what I
true.
got.
That's true. I really have turned into mom when I am on nature walks and pulling my kids into nature walks.
Right.
That's so nice.
I am my mother's daughter there.
Yes.
And what I have realized too is I have an appreciation for the road trips that she built for us.
Oh, yes.
And I have done that for my children. At least I'm striving to do that for them. I kind of internet search before we go on
Yeah,
trips to
that's
find
really
little things.
sweet.
And I know going in, I am doing this because my mom created this memory for me.
Beautiful.
And so I'm trying to build that for my
It's
kids.
really beautiful.
That's wonderful.
Melinda, what's one thing you'd like for Momma Margie to take away from hearing this podcast today?
To know how loved and valued she is.
Hmm.
Tiffany?
I was actually going to say that exact same thing.
More than
to
one
know-
word, but
But to know that people think highly of her.
Clearly.
yeah.
Yeah, I do. Gosh.
One last one. It's an important one. Tiffany, what's your mom's favorite cuss word?
Ooh, Margie's not a big cusser.
No, she's not.
Oh, no.
I picked that up on my own in high school, and I just started letting it fly. And her face was like, "What?" We were just always really open,
Right.
and I guess I thought it was a-okay to just start flinging
If
cusses
she
around.
cussed when we were kids, we would bust out laughing. It
Right.
killed the mood that
Yeah.
she was trying to instill. Like, she was furious about something. And if she said, "Damn it, girls,"
Right.
it was
So
threw
out of
us
character.
so back,
Yeah.
so out of character. Everybody just starts laughing. She's like, "God damn it." We're trying to say it again.
Right.
It was just ridiculous. And she might we would stamp our foot and act like we're so mad too, because she's just like blown a fuse that like you just didn't see it. She was not a cusser, but if she did, it was more funny than,
Right.
whoa,
That
mom's
is
mad.
so funny.
Yeah, I can't think of her
No.
cussing much. She was the one who always kept things pretty together, because our dad would be comically angry. And for
Yeah.
some reason, like, we weren't scared of it. We just made us laugh too.
Yes. Yes.
He'd be like tossing no one's watching TV until we find the remote.
Yeah.
He's like tossing all the couch cushions. And we're just like laughing our heads
Yeah.
off. But
Like, this is
I don't know why we
ridiculous.
found that all so funny, but she was pretty even keel, by comparison.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I have loved hearing about our friend, the young, the beautiful Margie.
Yes.
And tell us where we can follow you, find you, anything that you want to talk about, promote your show. So Melinda, tell us.
Okay. Tune into Fox 4.
Okay.
That's it.
What time
I do
does
the
that?
noon newscast, and I really try to temper the bad news. I try to fill it with good news.
We love that.
Yeah, I love that. I book for the morning show also.
Okay.
So we try to book, inspiring guests.
Okay.
All right.
Well, if you feel inspired at all by this episode, maybe we can talk later.
Yeah.
Tiffany, what's the latest and the greatest with Tiff's Treats? What do we need to know?
So Tiff's Treats, you can find us at just Google Tiff's Treats anything, but cookiedelivery.com is our website. We've got a website, a mobile app, on all of the social channels. That's going to be Tiff's Treats. And we are just consistently expanding to new areas with our on-demand bake to order warm cookie delivery. So check us out if you're in one of our many areas.
Yes.
What's the Instagram handle for that?
I think it's
Tiff's Treats.
Yeah, it's Tiff's Treats.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, ladies.
Thank you both so much.
Thank
we might
you.
not remember each other from the younger years, but I feel like we've made some great memories here today, and we
Yes.
hope that would continue.
Right. Moving forward.
It's nice
Yes.
to reconnect. We'll end the show as we always do. Whit, I love you. I love your show.
I love you. I love your show.
And hey, Tiff, I love you.
Okay. Love you, sis.
You're supposed to say, Tiffany, I love you. I love your show.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
We have to love each other's show.
Yeah.
Well, Melinda, I love
I
your
do have a
show.
show.
Right, you
So
do
I
have
know,
a
so
show.
it makes sense.
It's perfect. All right. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much for listening to Hey Sis, Eat This. If you LOL'd, peed your pants a little bit, or even smirked, please hit subscribe if you haven't already. And feel free to rate and review, but only if it's positive.
Also, visit our website for recipes and to sign up for our newsletter at heysiseatthis.com.